is the Decalogue, the 10 Commandments. One of those commandments is not to covet. Like not to covet another man's wife. Yet, when it comes to relationship goals, there are times when you see a person, maybe someone you're in a relationship with, or your friend, and you know that this person will make a great companion. But then there are times you see someone and it's like, oh my gosh, may the Lord have mercy upon anyone who gets into a relationship with this person. And there was a series that used to come on, I'm not sure if it still comes on, called Bridezilla. And then there are times, getting married can be a stressful time for people. But there are some things that came out with some women, it's kind of like, maybe this man should run. Maybe you should see what he's getting into and just stop. Because regarding this message about couple goals, or couples goals, or relationship goals, there are times you can see a couple and maybe like, oh, they look good together. But looking good together doesn't mean that they're good together. It doesn't mean that they're good for each other. So it goes beyond looks. Then there are times you can see a couple and you see the favor of God upon them. Jesus said that what God has joined together, let no one put asunder. There are times you can tell the Lord has put a couple together. And other times like, oh my gosh, the devil has this person, the devil has this child of God in his snare with a child of the devil. So this message about relationship goals, blessing or beast, because some relationships are blessings and others are not. And just two quick examples. One of someone who married and things just got worse was King Ahab. In 1 Kings 16, let me see here, start verse 30. And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord, above all that were before him. Oh gosh. But when you look in 1 Kings 21, you see that Ahab at least had a little bit of fear for the Lord. But he still did evil. But at least he knew the Lord. But then it continues. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, modern-day Lebanon, and went and worshipped Baal and worshipped him. As I read that, I was reminded of 1 Kings 11. King Solomon had a combination of 1,000 wives and concubines. Some were a blessing, others were beasts, meaning they led him to idolatry, into the point where the man God had chosen to build his temple ended up building places of worship for other gods, Chemosh, Moloch, etc., because his wives served other gods. They were not a blessing. They, in a sense, destroyed his relationship with the Lord, brought judgment upon him, brought judgment upon Israel. where some were a blessing, others were not. So because of his marriage to Jezebel, not only was he evil, but now he went into idolatry, worshipping Baal. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. Again, his marriage to Jezebel was a bad thing for him. And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. That is not a relationship goal. Jezebel could have been the most attractive, physically attractive woman in all Israel. But because of her ways and whom she served, she was not beautiful. In addition to the idolatry, in 1 Kings 18, verses 1 through 4, it reads, "And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, shew thyself unto Ahab, and I'll send rain upon the earth. And Elijah went to shew himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria, because Elijah had said it would not rain or dew until he gave the word. 3.5 years later, no rain, no dew. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was his governor, of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly. For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets, and hid them by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water." This blessing, or this relationship, this marriage, it was a beast. It was a beast. Yes, Ahab was evil, but he got worse when he married Jezebel. Built places of worship for Baal, so was leading the people of Israel into idolatry, kind of like Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who when the Lord split the kingdom to the 10 northern tribes, 10 for Jeroboam, he had 2 golden idols built, golden calves. And kind of like Aaron said, these are your gods who brought you out of Egypt. So he led Israel into idolatry. And Ahab was doing the same thing, bringing another god, lowercase God, into Israel, because his marriage was a beast. And then this woman started killing the Lord's prophets. And even after Elijah, through his intercession, through the word of the Lord, ended the drought, when Jezebel found out what had happened, she threatened to kill Elijah. Later on, Ahab wanted the field of a man named Naboth. But Naboth wouldn't do it because of the Mosaic laws and regarding his inheritance. When Jezebel found out, she conspired to have Naboth killed by calling an unholy fast, having people bear false witness against him, to have him executed. Jezebel was wicked. That is not a marriage where you look at the man and say, man, the Lord has blessed this person. So, regarding having a relationship goal or a couple goal, it's not always about how people look. Sometimes people focus on looks. We may look good, but it's not good, especially behind closed doors, especially in private. And as a result of his union with Jezebel, the Lord had Elijah pronounce judgment upon the house of Ahab in 1 Kings 21, and it wasn't good. And again, this is not to say that you want a person, but you just see the person's qualities, and you know that whosoever this person ends up in a relationship with, the person is going to be blessed. I recorded a message earlier about do not mistreat a blessing from the Lord. So please remember that. Now this is an example of a woman who was a blessing to a man. And by the way, this works both ways. A woman can be a blessing to a man, and a man can be a blessing to a woman. And ultimately, they're a blessing to each other. But again, sometimes you have a person who's paired with someone else. And so one person may come as a blessing, but the other person is not a blessing, but a beast, which is what the Bible refers to as being unequally yoked together. But then this one right here, she was certainly a blessing, and others noticed it. Godly roots bear godly fruits, and when the fruits come forth, others will notice. In Proverbs 31, starting verse 10, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, again a blessing, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Again, she's a blessing, not a beast. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. There's nothing but a portion to her maidens. Again, others, even outside the marriage, get to notice it. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. Again, things bearing fruit. So I said, this is the kind of person that I like to be with. Not that you want that person, but it's like, this is the kind of person I like to be with. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. So again, others get to see. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. Another thing people can see. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. In the corner of my Bible, I see Proverbs 12:4. Let me read it. I wasn't going to go there. Proverbs 12:4. This is a good one. In Proverbs 12:4 it reads, a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is rottenness to his bones. A spouse can be either a blessing or a beast. So again, a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bones. A relationship from the devil will suck the life out of a person. So again, back to Proverbs 31 verse 23 and beyond. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. So again, people are going to notice this woman, and they're going to know that the man who is her husband is blessed. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom. Another blessing, a wise woman. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is a law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Do not take your blessing for granted. He knows he's blessed, and others did too. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. One of the ways a person can tell when a man or woman is blessed is when the person he or she is with fears the Lord. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Praising her in the gates. Again, others are going to know. The person who's with this individual is either blessed or cursed. So when it comes to relationship goals, some relationships are a blessing. Others are a beast. Prayerfully, you are blessed. God bless you, and Jesus of Christ. In Ephesians 5, it speaks about a man loving a woman like how Christ loves the church. So a relationship from God between a man and a woman, it should be reflective of how Christ loves the church. The man ways towards a woman should be like how Christ loves the church. But also when a woman is loving the man, she should respect him like how the church should respect Christ. Marriage, an earthly institution that should be reflective of a relationship with the Lord. I pray this message blesses you, and that the relationship that you're in, or will one day get in, will be a blessing as opposed to a beast.